Gabriel, you said you were sorry, but if that's the case, why did you take off that night? Why did it take 45 days for you to turn yourself in? Gabriel, where was the car that you struck Hector with? The police never recovered it. Where'd that car go?
Representation for my nephew, which it caused not a good sentence. So even the judge, when the judge was looking at the charges, the judge also was surprised, and the judge was saying, why are you asking for a max sentences now when you didn't even focus on the charges that he was supposed to be working? So for a child that they left on the side of the road, we didn't have a fair representation today. So it was not fair.
Is it more unfair with the judge's sentence, or is it more that you think the DA's office should have dropped the charges and maybe, go ahead, go into that maybe.
The DA office. Like I was saying before, today was our first meeting with them in person. They didn't guide us through the process. We didn't even know we were allowed to do a speech today, so we could prepare ourselves. We finding out everything through the community, people helping us and telling us, hey, you should be preparing a speech just to be ready. But through the DA office, we didn't have that support.
Have you asked them why they dropped those 2 charges?
They were making the deal because they were saying that Gabriel played guilty with the for the murder, so that's why they said that they made the deal. That they never have consideration or talk to my sister about the deal that they were making. We find out everything today, the day that they were doing the sentence.
It doesn't feel like justice is served?
No, no, because 1 year to 2 years for a child's life, for somebody that it was driving careless, I don't think that's fair at all.
I think it's difficult to say that anyone can be happy with the sentence. You know, the sentence, I'm happy in the sense that it's the maximum allowed by law for the charge, but there's no amount of sentence that would bring the victim in this case back. So I think everyone's disappointed in the amount of time, but that is the amount of time allowable for the charge.
Why did you drop count 2?
Count 2 was charged initially based on a set of facts that we knew at the time. The investigation later revealed difficulty proving all the elements of count 2. So I know there has been some discussion about that being dropped for various reasons, but that was withdrawn in exchange for a plea to vehicular homicide as a result of the evidence.
I mean, he hit the kid and he left the scene. What's difficult to prove in that?
I can't really comment on the difficulty, except to say that it requires a certain amount of proof, and the fact that we now know that he turned himself in does not necessarily link him to the accident at the time.
The car was never recovered by police.
That's correct.
Any issue there? Is there some sort of, could there have been an extra charge there in terms of tampering with evidence, or you not being able to find that car?
In order to tamper with evidence, you kind of have to have the evidence. So there have been repeated searches for the VIN number. It's never popped up. That's something that we intend to address, but as far as the charges here today, that was something that we couldn't get over the hurdle for tampering with the vehicle.
Is that accurate when the victim's family said they hadn't been consulted about this prior to today?
I can say that I can't even begin to imagine what type of grief the family is going through, the loss of their 15-year-old son. I know personally that our prosecutor has spoken at length with the family before today. I know that the police officer has spoken with the family. I know that our victims unit has reached out several times. I know that they didn't feel like that was adequate, and there was even some discussion about whether or not certain of those discussions had occurred, including one that was at the preliminary hearing. My apologies to the family if they feel like we were not in sufficient contact with them. I know that we had repeated conversations with them. So again, I wish that we knew that they wanted more contact, because we certainly could have done that, but they had spent quite a bit of time speaking with the family. And again, I don't pretend to imagine to know what they're going through.